good afternoon from Uyo, Nigeria. My name is Edion Senyene Njunovong. How was your day and how is your Nigeria? How is the cash crunch on you? I hope the toll is not too bad and I hope you're preparing to vote for your candidate of choice come Saturday, the Presidential and National Assembly election day, if the date is not, being altered, and which, of course, all of us are praying. This is Environmental Resort, and I sincerely welcome you. First, I would like to apologize to all of you that have been anticipating the second edition of the Waste to Wealth series. I had to, for the sake of, what's it called, national conscious responsibility to my country, see that I have to bring this campaign forward so that we get to talk about this and see how to leverage on the information we'll be sharing here and then move forward. Do not worry. By next week or possibly a week after the election, okay, next week definitely I should be able to come back with the second edition of the Waste to Wealth series. We've done the first edition last week. The second edition will be coming up next week. So sincere apologies. Today we just have to take on something different, and it's quite important we do. Remember, on Saturday, the 25th of this month, next tomorrow, all of us in Nigeria, we will be going to our respective polling unit to cast our vote. And who are the people we are voting for? How environmental conscious are their manifesto? What are they telling you, or what are they telling us with regards to their environmental policies or the things they are about to do with regards to the environment? Remember, sometime last year, we went into a very serious flooding that took many lives, and we lost so much in terms of livelihood. And without the proper policy, or without a pro-environment leadership in place, I think we will be suffering of more of these natural disasters. And of course, in Nigeria, people will say that we are lucky that we do not have so much natural disaster, but we have leadership disaster, and it's affecting a whole lot of us. So imagine that we have a mix of natural disaster and leadership disaster. You can imagine what would be our fate. Joining us today on this campaign, there's been a series of campaigns being led by CSOs in Nigeria, and of course, most of them under the umbrella of Climate and Sustainable Development Network. And then it's tagged Vote for Climate. I'm not the one to share my thought. Of course, I have guests who will be coming on the program to share their thoughts today. So joining us from Abuja would be the program lead or program manager for Climate and Sustainable Development Network, Mr. Steven. Okay, so I'm trying to bring up Mr. Steve. So joining us from Abuja is Mr. Steve Abu. Mr. Steve Abu is the program manager for Climate and Sustainable Development Network. And of course, I have said that Climate and Sustainable Development Network is the network organization that canvasses, or is an umbrella organization that carries about 1,000 or more other CSOs that are active into the environment, activism, advocacy, and other issues related to leadership, the environment, and all that you would think of having quality life as a citizen of Nigeria. And of course, CSNED is a member organization, of course, the National Platform for Pan-African Climate Justice Alliance. Mr. Steve, so good to have you on the show today.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Ediong. Thank you for having me on your show today. It's a delight to be here. Thank you so much. Look forward to a fruitful deliberation.
Thank you for coming back again. I remember we had you sometime earlier in the week on Society Watch, and the things you shared on that particular program was quite explosive. Of course, the feedback we've got after that engagement has been quite remarkable. Thank you for sparing your time again to be with us today. How is Abuja today?
Yeah, fine. Everywhere is busy. We are all getting set to hit the poll, and we are all optimistic that at the end of it all, that Nigeria, and of course Nigerians, will be the winner of the election.
I say amen to that. Okay, thank you. To balance the question here, we'll be having a female join us from Global Initiative for Food Security and Ecosystem Preservation. Dorcas Nikano will be joining us. But meanwhile, while we're waiting for her to join us, I would like to just begin the call. Okay, Dorcas is here already. Let me bring her up so she can just get to introduce herself. Hello, Dorcas. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. I hope you guys can hear me now.
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear.
Thank God.
Okay, so Dorcas is the project assistant for ASCJ. ASCJ stands for African Activists for Climate Justice. Is the is a program assistant or project assistant rather in a global initiative for food security and ecosystem preservation. And of course, GSEV have been a core part of the Vote for Climate campaign. And I would like to just have her speak and say hello before we get to engage officially. Dorcas.
Yeah, hello. Good afternoon, everyone. Having me. It's an honor to be here. Yeah. So thank
Okay,
you.
so if I'm not mistaken, Dorcas is joining us also from Abuja, and I want to believe that she's
Yes.
preparing. She's preparing to vote for a candidate of her choice come on Saturday. And of course, I would like to know that that the candidate of our choice will be such that if he emerges or when he emerges, that environmental policies, it will be pro-environment kind of leadership. Thank you so very much, Dorcas, for coming on the program. Okay, let me start with you, Dorcas. Or the mini. How do I say that? Do I start with the man first or should go? They say ladies first. Dorcas, should I begin with you or should I begin with Steve? I want you to make the choice now so that we can move.
Either way,
Okay,
it's
so
fine.
so I stay with you.
You start. Let me hear from.
All right. Okay, so Mr. Steve, let's begin with the whole idea behind the campaign. Because I know that CSOs have been critical to the development of any society, and Nigeria is not an exception. And I know that as a network organization, CSF has been pushing for so many policy advocacy and influencing, series of government policies to see that it's people's friendly and of course environment friendly. So just give your brief about the vote for climate campaign, sir.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Adiong. Once again, thank you for having me on this show. And I want to thank my colleague here too, Dorcas. Thank you for coming on this show too. Vote for Climate is an initiative being driven by civil society organization, and it's with a common goal of achieving, leadership with commitment to the issue of environment. Of course, you cannot separate a people from their environment. And of course, the primary aim of governance is the security of lives and property. And so you cannot talk about the security of life and property if the issue of climate change is not being addressed. I think as we move on this show, we will get to know more on how this campaign is so relevant to us, particularly in Nigeria, not saying much about the present situation we are in regarding the issue of climate change. We're all witnesses to the devastating flood that swept across many states in Nigeria. As I speak to you, I have recently visited a site in Kogi State. Kogi State somehow is located in the confluence, in between the River Benue and the River Niger. We all saw how devastating the impact of that flood was to them. As I speak to you, both business women, farmers, the dwellers in this slum, most of these people are yet to begin to recover from the impact of that disaster. And so the whole initiative is to see how we can, through this forthcoming election, come up with committed leaders to the cause of climate justice. And that is why we came up with this campaign of votes for climate. Vote for climate simply means vote a candidate that has commitment towards environmental or climate justice. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Steve. Talking about the flood, I remember the most vulnerable set of people happens to be the female gender, and of course the children. And going by the statistics of that, and of course the loss of means of livelihood, women happen to have suffered more from the impact of that flood. And Dorcas, with regards to this campaign, what are the female or the female what's it called? How do I put it? What is the concern of the female gender towards this vote for climate campaign? What are you advocating for? What are your demands? As the female gender, and of course, we have to mainstream gender in every of our engagement to see that there is a balance, and of course, women are given the center stage in every of our engagement. So, what are your sentiments with regards to the vote for climate campaign?
Okay, so the vote for climate we've been doing we've taken two approaches for this campaign: field engagement and the online engagement, which is largely via social. During recruitment or during mobilization for every activity we do, which is on every on-field reach out, we try to reach as many people. And even among we, the campaigners, among the organizations, we try to always balance, to always have women, because some of these women we feel messages better, or we receive our we receive our messages better when it comes to home, and they feel, okay, since women are also involved in this thing, it's not just men that are telling us, okay, we care for the environment and all that. So we've engaged a lot of people taking this campaign forward, both online and on-field activities. We've always engaged and included the female gender.
Mm. Oh, fantastic. Okay, Dorcas, let me still stay with you. Are there specific demands of the female gender in the course of the campaign? What are the specific demands made by women, by female, perhaps the youths, to regards to the Vote for Climate campaign?
Okay, so for this campaign, it's so there's no specific demand from understand, but we are not denying the fact that women are more impacted by the effect of climate change.
Yeah.
Everybody, we are telling the whole group, women, that if you vote for a political party or for a candidate climate action plans, then this impact that you are feeling, especially you the women feeling from climate change, this person will take serious actions to address it. There's no specific demand from any group. We're all generally encouraging the awareness that they should vote for someone that has credible climate action plans.
Okay. Thank you very much, Dorcas. This is EIN TV and of course Environmental Research. You may want to watch us live on our Facebook page at EIN TV and on YouTube at EIN TV. You will want to follow us also on Twitter at TV_EIN. Yeah, I've been having a very robust conversation here on the Vote for Climate campaign. I have Steve Abu from CSDNet and Dorcas Nikano from GSET. And this fantastic lady and gentleman has been doing justice to the topic of discuss today. And so, Steve, let me get back to you. Dorcas just mentioned that there's been a series of engagement, mobilization and all of those. Let's get to the presidential election that is coming up on Saturday. What has been the level of reception of this campaign by the different political parties and their candidates so far?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Ejong. Usually at the point of campaign, politicians become so vulnerable to taking virtually instruction from every living thing. And so we've had, we see them go down to, the level of the common man. We've seen some politicians go to eat with people in the
Yeah,
low
some of them eat
level and the
corn.
rest. Yeah, to convince you that, yeah, they are with the people. And I think civil society organization, we are wiser than that. We have been able to follow these people from the beginning. We have actually had some candidates at the early stage make mockery of what climate change stands for. All of this are on the media. We have also listened to some of these candidates speak so well, identifying with the people suffering from the impact of climate change. And so we
Mm,
have been able to take these messages to the grassroots, to the common man, that look, uh, someone may have come to deceive you about election, thinking everything is about money. No, it's not about money. Some of us read from the news how some, big or huge amount of money was discovered from the rumbles from the, earthquake that happened in Syria. So if you
mm,
like have plenty of money in your bank, and then there is a natural disaster, you are likely to perish with your money. So we have been able to
mm,
explain this to the people. Don't be carried away with or by any politician coming to give you money or deceiving to voting them. Now it is time to vote for your life. It is time to vote for yourself. It is time to vote for the future of your children. Anybody that is not taking action, not just politician, but anyone that is not taking action against the impact of climate change is actually not interested in the future of us and the children. So we make this clear to them. And I think there is a high level of reception, both on and
mm.
offline, of the people we engage with, seeing the reality of what we're talking about. And so I think to some extent, some of these candidates, political candidates, have been able to identify with our messages and have
Oh,
been
wow.
able to make some level of commitment that, yes, when they get there, they are going to address some of these issues. And we hope that this is not just on a lighter note. You remember some time ago in November, CSDevNet led a group of civil society organizations from across Nigeria. We were in the Ministry of Environment and were well
Yeah.
received by the Minister of Environment. And we made some demand still on the issue of climate justice. We talked about how the issue of loss and damage should be addressed, how we should mainstream gender, how people, indigenous people and people from local communities should be taken into serious consideration. And all of this was addressed. We saw that there was a move even at COP27 in Sharm el
Mm.
Sheikh, where we discovered some of these our demands became what part of the messages that were pushed forward at the COP by the government. So we are looking forward to people who can run with this vision and make commitment to deliver this. And I think we have some of these candidates that are serious about this issue. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Steve. Talking about what is happening in Syria and in Turkey, and it's quite pitiable. And I keep saying that if you do not take care of our environment, if you do not make the right policies that favors the environment, that nature somehow has a way of taking care of itself. And if it does, nature may get to eliminate us. And it's quite unfortunate that at some point when nature reacts, our lives may be involved. So Nigerians, as we move into the elections, I would like to encourage us that we vote for the right candidate who will be taking the issue of nature conservation, preservation seriously, so that we wouldn't be facing what other countries have been facing. So do not forget that I had said earlier on the program that we are lucky. The only disaster we have is leadership disaster. And so, what if we get to vote in someone who want to through their bad policies, influences natural disasters or causes natural disasters upon us? You say, God forbid. Okay, Mr. Steve, I am trying to get back Dorcas. Dorcas, you may want to turn on your camera. Okay,
Okay.
so Dorcas, let's talk about how far we've been able to step down, or you've been able to step down this. this advocacy, this campaign. You were in Abuja, and then we have about 36 states across Nigeria. How far? What has been the level of step down of this advocacy, of this campaign to the state level?
So let's start from the root things. For us to be able to step down this campaign to a level, we need money, right? And so the funding we have campaign was not and is not enough to cover all the 36 states. What we did is
Okay.
we covered Abuja, Nasarawa, Kaduna, and Edo states.
Oh,
These are
wow.
the states that we had on-field activities. Yeah, so in all these states, there were rallies, there were sensitization works, and the likes. In Nasarawa, we paid courtesy visit to 3 traditional rulers and palace. In Shabu, that's in Lafia local government. We went to the palace in Masaka, that's in Sokoto, and then in Abuja, we had a sensitization. We visited the palace of the leader of Kalmajiji, a settlement airport road. So in as much as we can't reach all the states with on-field activities, that's why we also leveraged on social media.
Yes, I wanted to come to that. I wanted to come to that because I know social media is actually very critical at this point. So, what has been the level of
Yeah,
involvement or engagement at that level?
yeah. So that's where I'm coming. Around December, we had a contact from another CSO that wanted to join. That's European Climate Foundation. They reached out to plug into the Vote for Climate campaign. So what they've been able to help us push the digital arm of the campaign. So the source for the digital is pushing the campaign via content creating. If you notice, you have been seeing we've been content on Vote for Climate. That is the contribution. That is the work of the digital working toward on the Vote for Climate campaign. So through this, we've been able to reach. The last time I checked the statistics, we're almost reaching 5 million. Almost 5 million people
Oh,
digitally
wow.
via Google Ads, via Google social media platforms. So that's it. Through the digital more people that we reach, where we are being constrained by budget to reach on-field or persons. But even in person, through the various engagement we've had on-field, I can tell you confidently that we've been able to reach over 5,000 persons because through the number of handbills that we shared, because we had handbills printed for our sensitization works where we give them out.
Okay.
So at least that number has gone out, and we know that we've reached at least number of people on on-field actions.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic, Dockers. Okay. And then I would like to let me shock you that I also did some groundwork, and I realized that this campaign as we speak is currently ongoing in River State, and it's currently ongoing on River.
Ex
So you had
exactly.
skip those 2 states, and and I
I
know
don't know
that
if she mentioned
other
Lagos also.
network. Yeah, Lagos
Okay,
is
yeah.
carrying this project
Sorry,
too.
I even
So
forgot Lagos. Yes.
okay, so
Sorry,
I
I
want to
forgot to
tell you that
mention
I
Lagos.
also follow the project, and I'm even on my own end. We are still trying to see how to, and that is what we are doing. And with this again, I want to tell you that your reach or the reach of the campaign would have also skyrocketed. So I want to give kudos to everyone in the team who has found it necessary to promote this advocacy. Now let me move a bit to something else, and I'm bringing that to you, Mrs. Steve. Talking about our ambitious climate commitment. I realized that in the 1999 Constitution as amended, there's there's a there's a there's a aspect of it that has to do with the environment, and it states that the power to protect and improve the environment and safeguarding the water, air, and land, forest, and wildlife is incumbent on the leadership of this country. It's constitutional that every one of the sole responsibility of whoever becomes the president of Nigeria must meet this responsibility towards the environment. So far, so good. What has been the level of ambitiousness of different leaders, or we bring it to the current dispensation towards meeting our ambitious goal towards the environment, sir?
Thank you, Mr. Adiong. Anytime I'm having a discussion and I get to hear anything about this word ambition, sometimes it makes me don't want to speak, because ambition, like you rightly say, we need to classify it as it is practically. Now, we have ambition that are on papers, and we have ambitions that are practical, where you can find people committed to. Trust me, Nigeria is so good with policies. We have so many policies that even the policy makers do not even know that they have such policies in Nigeria. We have them. So when you go to the website of the Ministry of Environment, you will get to see that we have lots of these policies, but there is little that we have been able to do to achieve what is on the paper. And so when it becomes just an ambition without commitment, it becomes a frustration. Now, for example, in the past 10 years, okay, no, let's not go back to just 10 years. Let's say the past 8 years of President Muhammadu Buhari, ordinarily, someone should have been able to come to stand and say, look, without any external support, without funding from any country, Nigeria has been able to restore so number of hectares of land that was being ravaged by maybe drought, desertification. But as I speak to you, I don't think Nigerian government can boast of any land up to maybe 10 hectares that they have been able to restore.
How about the Great Green Wall project? Because I recently saw a call of volunteers on that regard, on that project. So would you still want to attribute that to them?
Yes, sir. Do you have anything to show beyond what you read on paper on that project? If you have been able to grow, even if it's indigenous trees that you grow in a place, by now we should have a result. We should be able to show that we planted maybe 10,000 seedlings, and now we have 9,000. Do we have anything like that to show for? We have also seen a few activities across the seashore that we talk about, the restoration of the mangroves.
Yeah.
So how many hectares of our lost mangrove have we been able to restore? These are things that will impress us from the civil society. Not that we have policies, not that we have commitments like we have in our NDCs, nationally determined contribution. So unconditional effort to bring about environmental friendliness. How far have we gone? Is there any commitment actually as to cutting down in our dirty energy, the use of dirty energy? Have we been able to make way? Have we been able to improve everything? Nothing. So it's just an aspect I wouldn't want us to even go, so we can have a smooth, program this afternoon. Because most of when we see things on newspaper, we see on television, and after inauguration, after celebration, and you try to follow up on the project and you cannot find anything to show. So it's annoying. I think that has been the situation over the years. Permit me to add quickly that as we speak presently, Nigeria is one of the countries that is fast losing its forest reserve. And we are not making any progress in trying to curtail that. Rather, we are having more forest land being degraded. So we have our water body continue to shrink because there's no effort to stop this. We continue to have farmers headers clash because of fighting over slim resources. So all of these things they are not actually an indicator that we are making progress in that direction. Thank you, Mr. Edian.
Okay, thank you so very much. You activists, whenever the opportunity is given, you would always want to escalate. And I'm happy you're able to control yourself because I know you would love to see action. You don't just need to, the paper talks and all of those. Because I remember sometime year before last, 2021 or thereabout, I remember the then Minister for Environment, Minister of State for Environment, Chief Bikazo, was around the marine area or the maritime zone of Nigeria. I'm talking about the wetland restoration project, and I do not know what has become of that project, even as we are having this conversation. I want to believe that whoever is coming in as the next president of Nigeria will get to take this issue seriously and see that we have the conserve and of course where environment where everyone could thrive and there were businesses where livelihood have been sustained. This is environmental resort on here in TV. I've been having this conversation with Dr. Nikono and Mr. Steve from CSOs and GSA respectively. Ladies and gentlemen, trust me, it's been quite engaging. If you have your comment or question you would love to ask, please do well to make the most of the comment section, and I will share them with the people. Joseph Ibrahim, I have seen your comment. He said, "Vote for climate." Thank you for coming on the conversation this afternoon. Okay, so Dorcas, let me get back to you because we are not supposed to take more than 30 minutes of your time, but I think I'm already doing that. So I may ask that you allow me the next 8 minutes so we wrap this conversation up. Okay, Dorcas, I want to get back to you on this before we cut it short. Is a vote for climate campaign just about the national elections? Talking about the president. That was why I asked you about the step down and adoption of this project around at the state level. Even to the local government level. So, ma'am, with regards to, because after the 25th to be the state governorship and House of Assembly elections on the 11th of March, has it been any indication by any of the governorship aspirants across the states that are contesting elections or the election will be holding for the governorship position? Have there been any of such adoption of this particular campaign by state governorship candidate of whatever political party?
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Young. The Vote for Climate campaign presidential elections. It's for the elections, local government elections. It's not just for this, and even for the campaign itself, we envision it not to just be a 2023 general elections campaign. We want it to be a
Okay. So there's a
campaign that
sustainability
stands
plan. Can
the
you share that?
Right now, I can't really say much about that, but
Okay.
to just end in 2023 general elections. We want it to be something that for every we keep creating this awareness and reminding people, especially when they feel that okay, you did not do this in the last election, so now is another time to vote for climate. Do you understand? I said earlier about the constraint of reaching on-field actions. That's why we're doing this digital campaign. We're doing it well the presidential elections. That's just what I'll say. Is for people to have
Okay.
for the elections, which governor, which of the candidates has in his campaign concerning the environment. So yeah.
All right,
What you wanted to
Lucas,
say?
let me stay with you because before I take your final words on this edition of the program. What has been the level of partnership with other civil society organizations? The number of persons that have come together across Nigeria to say we embrace this program. And so far, what has been the involvement of other organizations apart from the few that are on that climate and sustainable development network?
When we launched when we launched the campaign last year on the 3rd of November, was also established. That's a coalition of activists for climate. So then, as of the time of the launch of the campaign, it was made up of about six, and most of these organizations were as CSOs. And around their thematic areas are around climate change and environment. We have about 20, if I'm not mistaken, 20 or 21
Okay.
organizations campaign. And this also involved the digital arm. Now, they are not really a civil society organization, but because of their input in the digital arm, they are also plugged promote the campaign. So yes, I can tell you that now we have about 20 organizations that are working together towards pushing this vote for climate campaign.
All right, that's fantastic. Mr. Steve, let me get to you. Because of time and the want of it, I have to rush now. You know, we are talking about partnership now, and what has been the relationship of? Now, I wanted to talk on the platform of the network, and then the relationship with the government so far. What has it been like with regards to accepting or embracing the activities of the civil society organizations in Nigeria, particularly as it has to do with climate and sustainable development with the government? How has it been like?
Yeah, I think over the years, the network, Climate and Sustainable Development Network, has actually have a good working relationship with the Ministry of Environment. We've been able to co-host activities. We've collaborated. The last NDC, the National Determined Contributions, that was reviewed, CSDevNet was actually the leading civil society organization that mobilized CSOs across the 6 geopolitical zones during the regional review of the NDC. So we have a good working relationship with them. We have enjoyed that closeness, and that has been able to help us drive our advocacy straight into government activities. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Stephen. Thank you, Dorcas. Steve and Dorcas are joining us from Abuja. Steve is of the Climate and Sustainable Development Network, while Dorcas is of the Global Initiative for Food Security and Ecosystem Preservation. And our area of engagement today has been around votes for climate, how we could influence the next set of leaders who are coming to lead us to think about the environment, to not just think, to not just develop policy document, but to act in favor of the environment, of the ecosystem. And so we would say vote for climate is about a pro-environment leadership. They say that time is never a friend, and of course time has been kind because we just have to follow time. And I would like to take your final words, Dorcas, as we head towards the poll, or to the polls on Saturday, and of course on the 11th of March. What are your words for Nigerians? And this will be your bye-bye too.
Okay. My words, you should vote your conscience. That's just what I'll say. You know who, so vote your conscience. That's just it for me.
Okay, so Dorcas is asking you or telling you to vote your conscience, but then how clean is your conscience if I ask you? Okay, so I move to Steve.
Deep down,
All right. Thank you, Mr. Adion. Okay, I think for the first time on this show, I'm going to now differ a bit from Dorcas.
Okay.
All right, and I'm going to make mine like a national statement.
All right.
Fellow Nigerian, please, some of us on this journey do not actually trust your conscience. As we are aware, a number of persons have sold their conscience for money. And so please don't vote your conscience. On this particular show, we are making a call. Please vote for any candidate that has the issue of climate justice at heart. Don't be emotional. Don't be ethnocentric. Please go for a candidate that has an action plan for climate change. If they do not present you with any action plan on climate change, it means they have no plan for your future. Thank you. Vote for
Thank
climate
you.
change.
Thank you, Mr. Steve. And then on that national speech note, I would like to say a very big thank you to Mr. Steve Abu, the program manager, program manager from Climate and Sustainable Development Network, CSDNet, and of course the project assistant, ASCJ, from Global Initiative for Food Security and Ecosystem Preservation, Dorcas Nikano. Thank you so very much, ladies and gentlemen, for finding time to come on the show today.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having us.
And thank you. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, that would be the size of our engagement with Dorcas and Mr. Steve of CSDNet and JSEP. And this is Environmental Resort on EIN TV. And today our focus of engagement has been around Vote for Climate, a campaign that is being championed by CSOs. By CSOs, I mean civil society organizations in Nigeria, to see that we have leadership that are pro-environment, people that cares about the environment, not the people that wants to exploit our environment and see that they take everything thinking that nature is infinite. The more you take from nature, there is that place of deterioration, deploration, and when you leave the place deplorable, it will get to affect you as a person. And guess what? The common man gets to suffer the effect. Because when these men exploit the environment and make so much from it, so much money, wealth from it, they get to their safe heavens and leave. Though some of them may want to travel to the places that are suffering from earthquake today, but some of them may be lucky and then they stay in their safe heavens and while you are suffering. So if you do not vote for the right person who will be pro-environment, I guess you will know what the consequence will be. So today on the program, we've been talking about Vote for Climate, and I want to implore you that you come Saturday and come the 11th of March, you should go out there and not vote for your conscience, vote for the candidate you know would do the right thing for the environment. Thank you so very much for sparing your time to be with us today on Environmental Resort. And this is EIN TV, and my name is Ediong Senyene Ndunovam from Uyo, Nigeria. Bye-bye.